And this is the weird part about Club Q. I'm in Colorado. The shooter was my downstairs neighbor. It's my downstairs neighbor.
It's one of those videos I did not want to make because it's not a comfortable conversation for many of us. What I'm talking about is Balenciaga's recent ad campaign involving children, which has invoked a lot of backlash from celebrities, politicians, fans of the popular fashion brand, just people in general as a whole, over two ads. The first ad involved children modeling teddy bear purses, and it appears that these kids are wearing like bondage type BDSM style clothing and accessories. This was part of their designer's gift collection. It's pretty weird choices that they went with. The second ad was supposed to be a part of their spring 2023 campaign. It featured a printout of a Supreme Court decision on child pornography. Pornography? I don't even want to use the word. But it also featured a book by Michael. I'm going to totally brutalize this name because you know I'm from Texas. We can't pronounce nothing. Michael Baramans, whose earlier work featured like depictions of castrated children. Weird, I know. So what did Balenciaga do in response to all this backlash, negative press, all of that? Of course, they removed ads after the backlash came. They issued 2 statements and are claiming they're going to sue the production company behind the whole depiction of the Supreme Court. So it's damage control 101. Damage control time. So Balenciaga, they have some people that have worked with them like Kim Kardashian. It hurts my soul every time I mention a Kardashian. I'm sorry. But she has a long history working with this company. She's even speaking out against them, among other celebrities. So, yeah, anything dealing with kids and the potential harm of kids, I definitely I'm against. Like, don't mess with kids, old people, and animals. Those are 3 groups that cannot protect themselves the way, other people can. And this whole story hurts my heart. It really does. You may be asking yourself, so what does this have to do with the nerd community, and why are we talking about this now? What does it have to do with anything? You come to this channel for nerd pop culture stuff. Well, this is one of the most popular brands in the world, for one. Second thing, keep watching. You'll see why I'm talking about this. Aside from the obvious, the condemning of child pornography and the use of graphic images which feature children, both real and fictional. This brings up an interesting question in regards to nerd and geek culture and its relationship with the over-sexualization of children in comics and manga. Told you, this is why I'm talking about this. And I want to know what you think. So definitely let me know what you think about Balenciaga in the comments, about comics, manga, pop culture in general, and their depiction of children. Are they being over-sexualized? Do you feel that people are overreacting? I want to know what your honest thoughts are. This reminds me of Josh Howard, who released a supernatural comic called Dead at 17 by Viper Comics. It was later picked up by Image Comics, and it heavily featured teenage girls who are half naked or walking around in their bras and panties fighting zombies, demons, and whatnot. And it was accepted by nerds everywhere. And no one questioned this. J. Scott Campbell, who became known for his work on Gen 13 and later Danger Girl, was also known for his overly sexualized image of teenage girls. No one questioned this. He later tried to distance himself from this type of imagery, and has become known as, a cover artist for many books by Marvel, DC, whoever. However, despite him trying to distance himself, you can still go to his website today, see pictures of Tinkerbell and all your Disney favorites in over-sexualized manners. So, if you want your Disney childhood fantasies fulfilled, not sexualized, who would sexualize Tinkerbell? I mean, people have done it for years. He's not the first, but I don't know. It's just gross. It does bring up an interesting question. Why is the need in popular culture? Why is there a need in popular culture to sexualize teenage girls? Why? I think in the post-Me Too movement, post-woke movement, post-everything movement, the bigger question is, can American comic book artists continue to depict teenagers in over-sexualized ways without repercussion? Can they? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if they can't, why has it been and is acceptable for manga artists to depict teenage girls in overly sexualized manners without, say, a repercussion? This goes back decades. Look at Dragon Ball Z. Look at My Hero Academia, God of High School. Pretty much most popular mangas depict teenage girls in some kind of sexual manner. Oh my God, you cannot even watch Food Fight? You can't even watch that. Just coming from the other room, just hearing these sexualized noises from these teenage girls, you're like, what is going on in there? What are you watching? I really want to know what you think in the comments about all of this. I want to know, where's the line? Where's the line between art and pornography? Where's the line? Because to some people, they're one and the same. They're one and the same. Here on YouTube, if you type in performance art or new performance art or new drawings, you will get what many people will call pornography. Other people will call it art. There's probably about the same amount of pornography on YouTube that there is on Pornhub. But people disguise it as art, or they say it's art, or it is art to some people. I want to know what you think in the comments. I really want to know what you think. Because I want to know, where is the line? Remember when we had the comics code that just went away a few years ago? It was designed to set up some decency practices in comics. There's no backlash. We're going to keep doing it. That seems to be the mentality behind a lot of publishers these days. Are they wrong? Are they right? We're talking about the depiction of teenage, mostly girls. I really want to know what you think. But back to the Balenciaga thing. I've been to high fashion events and artsy-fartsy galleries and have wondered, where does this line exist? Years ago, in a Paris museum, a woman was protesting. I believe it was Paris. I might be wrong. So she was protesting. So she sat down and opened her legs, exposing her goodies for all to see. It was a big thing. It was all over the media. Was this performance? Was this performance art? Was this activism? I want to know what you think. And while we're thinking about this, and we're thinking about where's the separation, I want to know who's protecting the kids. Who's protecting the kids? Is this a big deal? Are people making more of an issue for a non-issue? I want to know what you honestly think. Should there be something like the comics code invoked within comics and manga? Should these depictions of over sexualized teenage girls continue? What does a little girl think about all this if she opens up a manga and sees this? Or she turns on Food Fight on Netflix and she sees these images? Food orgasms and all this craziness. What does that do to her psyche? Better yet, people have been asking this question for years. What does watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians do to the mentality of young girls when we start having conversations about body image, treatment of men, emasculation of men, and so forth? Because you watch the Kardashians, if you don't like your body, one of the things people have criticized this show of is if you don't like your body, do like the Kardashians and go buy a new one. These are all valid concerns and questions. All valid. Netflix had this movie, I think it came out a year, maybe 2 years ago, called Cuties. People were pissed off about it because how dare you depict little girls, little 11, 12, 13-year-old girls in a sexualized manner. Rage and fake outrage were right there. They were hand in hand. That lasted for 5 minutes. And sadly, so will this Balenciaga fiasco. Our society has become ADD when it comes to concern and outrage about social, political issues, as well as sex and violence. When it comes to men, with women, and kids on this planet. Why? Because as soon as you intellectualize your response to one thing, no matter if it's a shooting at a gay club, and this is the weird part about Club Q. I'm in Colorado. The shooter was my downstairs neighbor. It's my downstairs neighbor. And news media were asking me, they were like, did you know this guy? I'm like, I seen him around the building, but I didn't know the guy. We were in the laundry room together at one point. And he just sat there, waiting on his clothes, but I did not know the guy. But it shows that we really live in a small world. We really do. You don't know who your neighbors are, so be careful. But as soon as you intellectualize one thing and you're ready to respond to it, here's something else happens. Now I got to respond to that. Or, wait, can't respond to that, can't get my thoughts and feelings about this issue because here comes something else. So people have become desensitized to a lot of world events, even the ones that sadly are next door to you. It's crazy. People are worried in the nerd community, sadly, more about this Comicsgate revolution, which exists solely on the internet, than things like Nerdette's Newsstand pointed out about, like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case. That's real life things. And it's not even just about Johnny and Amber. Men and women are going through this on a day-to-day basis. Men are being lied to. They're being lied on a day-to-day basis. That's more important than, yeah, here's my Indiegogo campaign, make me rich. That's all I got to say about that. Are we all Karens in nature because of the fake outrage that people have? Because more often than not, the outrage isn't real. And sometimes it needs to be real. It really does. It really does. I'll leave you with this. I'm an elder nerd. I grew up watching American Pie, Porky's, Hot Dog the Movie. Hell, any horror film where there was a final girl, she was left braless and blood all over her. That was my childhood. Me personally, I didn't think about these things as far as they're over-sexualizing women or anything like that. I didn't think of, my mind wasn't on it. I was just enjoying a story. Same when I read a manga or a comic book. But the older I got, I became hyper aware of it. The same way, and I'm sure people are going to point this out in the comments. These cosplayers are taking characters who costumes are already sexual, like Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and they're overdoing it. They're over sexualizing these costumes. And then they look at you and like, hey, you're objectifying me. But they're in reality objectifying themselves. They're objectifying themselves. We can't control what people say about us in real life or on the internet. We can't. But we can control the respect people have for us by the way in which we respect ourselves. That's all I have to say about that. I want to know what you think about Balenciaga, about the depiction of teenage girls in comics and manga and popular culture, and is there anything that we should do about it? If so, what should we do about this? Is it a non-issue to you? I want to know, especially from the women. I want to hear, we live in an age where body positivity is a huge concern. It's a huge issue. So I really want to hear from the women out there, if you're watching this video, what do you think about all of this and more? I want to hear thoughts, possible solutions. Because right now, if you go to Indiegogo, Kickstarter, for example, what comic books are making the most money, for example? Big booty women, big breast women. Hopefully, these aren't teenagers. Like, subscribe. See you in the next video.